For more on the latest situation in Ukraine, we're joined by Ambassador William Taylor, currently a vice president at the United States Institute of Peace. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, Ambassador, it's only been a few days since this multinational deal was brokered in Geneva, and already there are complaints that no one is adhering to it. Russia is speaking out about it already. Was this deal a waste of time?
It was not a waste of time. First of all, the Russians sat down with the Ukrainians, and this is an important first step. They had been refusing to do this. So the Russian foreign minister or the Ukrainian foreign minister got together around the same table with the Europeans and the Americans. That's a good step. They also agreed on things that have to happen. The important next step is whether or not those things actually happen. That is, the people who are occupying buildings leave the buildings. The people who with weapons put down their weapons. That's the important thing. There is an enforcement mechanism, the OSCE, the folks that are going to monitor this. They're in place, and they're going to be reporting back. I've seen early reports. They're beginning to report back on what they've seen. They will tell us who's monitoring, who is implementing this agreement, and who's not.
So why the problem? Are they not doing their job fast enough? Or if this mechanism is in place, then why the problem?
The problem is that the Russian government, who is clearly influencing the people in eastern Ukraine that are causing these problems, the Russian government is not putting pressure on them to lay down their weapons and leave the buildings. In Kyiv, they are beginning to implement this agreement. But in eastern Ukraine, where the Russians are clearly manipulating the people and have security forces in the region directing the provocations, they're not implementing this agreement.
So what happens now? Do we just give it a few more days? What needs to happen for all the sides to kind of de-escalate the situation?
I'm not sure how we de-escalate the situation at this point. But in answer to your question, I think what does need to happen is that the Americans and the Europeans need to make it clear to the Russians that continued delay in implementing this agreement, also in removing those 40,000 troops that are poised on the other side of the border, that until they move, then more sanctions need to go in place. I believe the sanctions that we've put on and that the Europeans have followed and put on have started to have an effect, but they need to be broadened and they need to be sharpened.
So let's bring in this visit by U.S. Vice President Joe Biden. What does that do? Does it add to the tensions in the situation there?
I don't think so. I don't think it adds to the tensions. I think what it does, it demonstrates to the people in Kyiv, that is the government of Ukraine, that the international community is supporting them. The international community has demonstrated that support. Vice President Biden is the physical manifestation of that support. He goes there, he meets with the leaders. That's a demonstration that all are noticing. So I don't think it adds to the tension. I think it makes it clear where the international community puts its support.
I'd like to get your take on your personal feelings watching this all unfold, given your past history and your insight.
My sense is the Ukrainian people, with whom I spent a good 3 years and enjoyed every minute of my time there, the Ukrainian people would like to be able to get on about their life. They would like to have a united Ukraine, a Ukraine that is able to make its own decisions. They don't want the Americans making decisions, and they don't want the Russians making decisions. The Ukrainian people, a real people, want to make their own decisions about who they trade with, what organizations they join, what language they speak. They want to be able to make their own decisions, and I think they deserve that right.
All right, Ambassador William Taylor, we appreciate your time and your insight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.